another day, and you don't have to hide away, You'll be in my body, but for now it's time to run, it's time to run.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Score Science Podcast. My name is Jordan Kifkins. Alongside me is Jacob White. How are you, champ?
I am fantastic, mate. How about your fine self?
Splendid on this lovely evening or night or whatever it is at the moment. Afternoon, nighttime, daytime. Not that one. Today we're talking about Leicester City. And we can call them Leicester Shitty, but realistically they're as shit, if not better than us. We're ever shitty. Everton shitty scenes. Look, this game is one that you'd probably pencil down at the start of the season as a tough game, but nonetheless a game which we probably should win.
And it's probably still a tough game.
Yeah, look.
Nonetheless, a game that we probably should win.
So. That's probably exactly what's going on. Jake, we currently sit in 18th position, 8 points from 19th. The first 9 games. We're currently 18th, not 19th.
Are we?
Yeah.
I thought we were 19th. I had a look at the ladder yesterday. All the games are going on, and we were 19th.
Because Bournemouth, if Bournemouth got a point against Chelsea, they would have gone above us.
Oh, I checked the ladder when Bournemouth were playing against Chelsea, and they were level.
If
it's funny how that works.
Win, Jake, we could jump to as high as 12th.
If we win by 10 goals.
Yes.
But at the same time, if we win by 2 goals, we move to 13th.
Mathematically, it's possible to move to... Well, I mean, realistically, Brighton could go get done before our game, and we might only need like 8 goals. So...
Yeah. It'd be funny how that works.
The maths is there. Realistically...
Brighton are playing against
Southampton. It's kicking off in about an hour and a bit. Matt Ryan, the man informed. Not what we're talking about in this podcast, though. Leicester are a tough team. Obviously going through a similar time with us in a somewhat underperforming. They did win the title about 2 years ago. So you'd probably say they should be doing a little bit better than what they're doing. But they've gone through Shakespeare. Where art thou, Shakespeare? He's been dismissed from his job. Claude Puel, who was linked with the Everton job before Koeman, has been sacked from Southampton and is now Leicester City's manager. And it's funny how things work like that.
I don't know how ambitious that is, to be honest. That's a bit grim. If you're a Leicester fan, I reckon Leicester could have gone out and got a better manager. No, not an Ancelotti, but like... Emmanuel Pellegrini or something like that.
And Unsworth. It's a game where I don't know what to think about this game, because realistically I think Leicester are shit this season. Anyway, they're shit. Then I look at us and we're like, we're even worse.
But they have the players to do damage though. That's a scary thing. Like, they're shit, but they still have Mahrez, Slimani, Vardy. Not much else, but they still have those players.
There's not really anything else.
And you know Schmeichel was just going to put in his best performance of the year as well, don't you?
You do, and you know when Diddy's going to somehow do something unreal, and Ahmed Musa's going to come off the bench and versus Ashley Williams in a foot race, and we all know the answer to that one.
Indeed, he's going to turn into Kante for the game.
Damari Gray and Ian Archo running around. They're actually a very quick team, and I'm getting a bit more nervous looking at their squad. Like Baines and Williams running around, and Schneiderlin's probably
hopefully Williams won't be running around, to be honest. Hopefully he'll be sitting on the pine the whole game.
Hopefully he's running around at half time, because that's the only time I was seeing him running around. Unless he's playing, in which case I'd rather see him running around during the game. You look at Leicester,
don't get your hopes up,
and they're probably in a similar position to us in not in regards to their squad being better than ours, but in regards to their squad probably good enough to be doing better than they are. And they are sitting 15th, just 1 point above us. They have struggled, 2 wins alongside ours this season. So it's a tough one to predict. We'll start off with the team sheets, our predictions for the team sheets, Jake. Obviously, the fortunate thing that Unsworth has come out and said in the last couple of days is that he's pinpointed Klassen, Sigurdsson and Rooney as not being able to start in the same team, which is one thing that, we weren't too fond of when Koeman was around. I guess the next part of this is he going to play two defensive midfielders? And, if the Chelsea game's anything to go by, it wouldn't be a bad thing to see the likes of Idrissa Gueye next to Benny Benigami, who, is unlikely to obviously get another run or at least another start.
Could be on the bench.
Yeah, but, he did put in a shift on Wednesday and he was a very energetic defensive midfielder, and he's the sort of defensive midfielder which we have lacked this season. I think Idrissa Gueye hasn't been bad, but it's sort of the performance you'd expect from him.
It's weird though, because and I agree with what you're saying. Like we say, he's the defensive midfielder that we lacked, but at the same time, we're always mentioning that we should stop playing defensive midfielders. So it's I agree with what you're saying, but it's just weird how that works out when we bring in a defensive midfielder and everyone's buzzing. But then, if we line up in a few hours with Gueye and Schneiderlin both starting, then we'll all be sitting there like, well, fuck this, fuck that, fuck this. So,
the fortunate thing about
it's weird one.
Schneiderlin starting is we probably won't see Klassen, Sigurdsson and Rooney. So, I don't know if that's fortunate or I don't know, to be honest. I really don't know.
I honestly don't know if that is fortunate or not.
Well, personally speaking, I think we're going to see one of Idrissa Gueye and Schneiderlin. I'll probably say Idrissa Gueye, alongside Tom Davies. Chuck him in the centre of midfield.
Well, Unsworth has come out and said this morning that he will be playing players in their natural position. So...
Well, I mean, if you want to read into it anymore, let's take...
So Sigurdsson won't be playing on the left for one.
Yeah, which, the promising aspect of this is it does open the door for Lookman to potentially come in and have a start.
He was so good when he came on too. I reckon Morales will definitely start because I thought he was one of our best.
Well, I think we can put a line through Lennon, even though, he wasn't bad, but...
I think he'd come off the bench. Well, not come off the bench, but I think he could feature on the bench. But I reckon we'll go in with Vlasic and Morales starting on the wings. And I reckon Lookman will come off the bench. Because I reckon Unsworth looks at Lookman right now and thinks, thinks that he could be more of an impact player for 20, 25 minutes against tired defenders. Because I reckon, bring him on the right for the last, 20 minutes against Chilwell. I assume Chilwell's probably going to start for them, or Fuchs, whoever starts left back for them these days, I reckon could cause them a lot of trouble. So I wouldn't mind seeing that, because I reckon Vlasic is a superb footballer and he's already proved that under Koeman, so hopefully you can sort of flourish under Unsworth as well.
Or do you stick him on the other side against Danny Simpson? Could be.
Yeah, you put them any side realistically, but I feel like our front six kicks himself right now, in my opinion. I think it should be Gueye, Davies, Sigurdsson, Vlasic, Morales, and Calvert-Lewin.
Well, I guess
our front six.
I guess if you have to
at the
look
same time
at this and think anything from the Chelsea game, is the fact that the formation did change. We did play that playing a 4-3-3 as opposed to a 4-2-3-1. So I think that takes away the proposition of playing two holding midfielders. I'm not 100% sure of his midfield three on Thursday. I think it was Benigami,
McCarthy and Davies.
Yeah, well, there we go. Essentially, there's Benigami playing at the holding midfield role, and then McCarthy and Davies, who are naturally centre mids. I mean, McCarthy's obviously someone that is maybe more of a controversial to be called a centre mid than a holding mid. They could probably play a little bit of both, but I'd probably say he's more of a box-to-box midfielder.
Well, Unsworth did say after the game as well that the intention wasn't to start Benigami. It was to give him minutes, but it wasn't to start him. But Schneiderlin woke up in the morning feeling ill, so that brought him into the team, which was sort of a blessing in disguise in the end. As much as I do like Schneiderlin, it was sort of, well, not even sort of, it was a breath of fresh air to see Benigami sort of running things in the midfield, and that tackle that's been doing around on Twitter as well, that he put in as well, just proves that sort of snidey behaviour that we need as well, because there was a few times as well, because we lacked it Koeman this year, obviously. There were a few times where we weren't getting decisions going our way, and we did have 3, 4, 5 players creating the ref. And the main person as well that was leading the players to crowd the ref was Kevin Morales, which is obvious. Like, Morales is an absolute snide, but we love every single bit of that. But, like, it's sort of what we need. That's why I'd start Morales 100%, because he sort of brought Baines into the game as well, because I thought Baines was decent in the second half when we started to get on top of things as well. So I feel like I'm not sitting there saying Baines and Morales can be the next Baines and Pienaar for us, but they sort of understand each other. And I feel like if you have players like Morales and Davies who wouldn't mind the opportunity of two-footing the absolute fuck out of someone, I think if you start both of those, that already proves that you're there to have a genuine crack.
I think with Morales at the moment, he knows he needs to perform. He hasn't had much game time this season under Koeman. Yeah. He's been very, very fortunate to be getting runs in the Belgian national team. And I think he knows he's been told that he needs to start playing if he wants to be considered for the World Cup squad at the end of the season.
Yeah, of course.
And you just know that when he plays, he's going to make the most of his chances. And since he's come back into the team and started playing a few times, he has, been relatively good. So, hopefully he can keep playing and keep proving why he does deserve a spot in the Belgian team and proving why he deserves to start for Everton.
Yeah.
But, I agree. I think we've got to see the likes of Tom Davies running the midfield. I think, home or away, he needs to be there. He offers a lot, defensively going forward. We've seen it time and time again this season and last season, of course, obviously when he was thrust into the team. He's matured very well, and hopefully he takes the armband today. But the back four is maybe where, what in the past has probably been a very predictable back four or back five as such. Where a few question marks do rise. Obviously, John Joe Kenny is probably favoured at the moment to Unsworth. But is there a fact that, is he getting to a time where he needs maybe a stint off the bench or another break? He has played, the full against Chelsea. I think he played last week as well. He might have even played the week before that. So he has played a fair few games in a row, and he hasn't had that much experience. So it could be a game that Holgate does play it right back. The same on the left, obviously.
I'd like to see Kenny. You can go, sorry.
I was just saying on the left as well, obviously, Baines probably going to start because we have no fucking options.
Yeah, of course.
I think it's the middle. It depends if he likes, if he's, he probably won't opt with 3 at the back or 5 at the back, but, if he does, Williams, Jagielka, Keane, take your pick. Obviously would prefer Keane and Jagielka.
I think those two will be given a crack as well. Because from everything I've seen, apparently Unsworth isn't too keen on Williams. So it could in the be
crowd for games and fucking sees how shit he is.
Exactly. I'd start Kenny as well. Like, I do like Holgate as much as I don't think he's a right back. I think he has been good enough when given the chance at right back. But Kenny started very poorly against Chelsea, but he grew into the game, and you could sort of see late in the game against Chelsea that he was starting to get a bit more confidence as well. So I'd love to see him to get another chance to just try and keep going with that confidence. Who knows? He could bomb down the right wing and get an assist or something like that, which would obviously give him even more confidence. So I think those young players obviously play on confidence, and if Kenny can improve, because I thought he was pretty poor in the first half against Chelsea, but he was one of our best in the second half against Chelsea. So if he can improve on that, I think it's pretty obvious that, I'm probably going to jinx this, but I think it's pretty obvious that we will never see Martina again. I don't think, I'd be pretty bloody surprised if we saw Martina again. So I think it is down to between Kenny and Holgate.
Martina wasn't on the bench against Chelsea, was he?
No. And I don't know how, well, as far as I know, he wasn't. And I don't know how long Coleman is out for.
I think they said another month and a half.
Yeah, like they said like last week that he injured his hamstring or something, and is still like 2 to 3 months away. But in the Barkley article where they said Barkley's like 3 to 4 weeks away, they said Coleman should be available after the international break, which is like 3 weeks away. So hopefully Balassi, Coleman and Barkley can all make a return in the same game. That'd be sense.
we mentioned the second half performance Everton against Chelsea. Obviously, the lineup that Chelsea put out wasn't full strength at all, but it was still strong. They had a good team out. They took off Drinkwater, Batshuayi, Musonda in the second half. Fabregas, Pedro, and Morata all came on. Realistically, we remained on top for the majority, despite the substitutions of, each substitution did increase their team's ability and talent on the pitch. But, it was good and refreshing to go to Stamford Bridge and have more shots at goal and have more corners and have more dominance in, it's... Even though we didn't get the result, it was, refreshing to see. I know we didn't get the result, but you were pleased with the second half. I know that pretty much every single Evertonian was pleased with the second half performance, and realistically, majority of the game performance. Obviously, the first half was a bit stagnant, but the second half was very, very impressive and a step in the right direction, to say the least. So, I guess if we
it's a weird one.
If we take off from that second half against Chelsea, then I can't see us really having too many issues with Leicester.
You'd like to think so. Like, I'm reasonably... Like, I took the piss when I was messaging you saying we're going to lose and stuff. Like, I am reasonably confident that we can go there and put in a similar shift to last year and get, like, a 2-0 result or something like that. The main thing for me is getting a clean sheet. Like, obviously we don't want to sit there at 3 o'clock in the morning watching a 0-0 draw, but I just want to see us get a clean sheet for one.
5 by the time the game finishes.
Like, we don't want to watch that, obviously, but I just want to see a clean sheet for one, because Pickford's been fantastic with how poor we have been. I think Pickford's been pretty bloody good. And
do you sit here now and take a 0-0 draw?
No, but we have to win this. I'm not taking a draw against Leicester. I'd be happier with, obviously, it's football, like, it's a results-driven business, but obviously I'd be happier with a 5-4 win than a 0-0 draw. But we need a clean sheet desperately, because the more clean sheets we get, the more confidence players like Kenny, Pickford and Keane will get in each other, because they haven't played together that much. So, and hopefully we can just get a solid back four. Like, we're changing our back four every single week, so hopefully Unsworth can see that and we can just the same back four for the next 3 games going into the international break or something, because I can't see maybe Keane for England, if England are playing during the World Cup, during the international break, because they've already qualified for the World Cup, so I'm not sure. But I can't see any of those 5 playing internationals. So just give them 3 games and then let them rest for 2 weeks, maybe, just see what happens. But that's our main issue, in my opinion, with our clean sheets, is the fact that we're playing different defenders every single week, so they don't really know each other all that well. So that's the main thing for me.
I think the biggest question at the moment for Everton is the manager. Obviously, there's a lot of people after the press conference that he had before Chelsea, the performance in the second half against Chelsea, the press conference, before this game, how well spoken he is. There's a lot of people on Twitter going around and being like, do you want Unsworth to be the permanent Everton manager going forward for the rest of the season at least? Whatever. Now, I don't want to put you here and say, do you want that? Because realistically, it does depend a lot on our next 3 games.
I'll answer it straight out. Like, if we win the next 3 games, then potentially, right now, no. Like, I do like Unsworth, and whatever manager we do bring in, I stress that I really want Unsworth to be his assistant, because we sort of need that sort of assistant that's willing to get up and get in the 4th official's face and get the players up and about and stuff, because he's someone that we need in the sheds. But I don't think he's long-term someone who should be leading Everton forward. And that's no disrespect to Unsworth right now, but he hasn't really got the credentials right now, in my opinion, to be manager of Everton Football Club.
He doesn't, but you look at the way he gets himself involved in the game. Koeman was a very laid-back character. He was very arms folded, watching the game. From a tactical perspective, he was watching the game. sitting on the sideline, not offering much to his players who were looking for some sort of leadership. Obviously, in a team that was lacking leadership, especially with Jagielka out of the side. So they didn't have that leadership, and Koeman had to step in and be a leader, and he couldn't do that. You look at Unsworth, with Jagielka back in the team, obviously, a leader out in the pitch.
I don't think Unsworth sat down the whole Chelsea game for one.
No, exactly right. And you look at your assistant coach as well, and Duncan Ferguson, who's another one that really offers that passion. It makes the players want to push harder and strive harder to get that result. And, as much as it would be good to have a manager like Guardiola or something who is a tactical genius, amazing at his job, knows exactly how to win titles, win games of football, manage a squad, etc., whatever. You do need that aspect of a manager that loves the club, has passion for the club. And with Koeman, we didn't see that. With Martinez, we did see that in patches. With Moyes, we obviously saw that. So,
it's a weird one.
We need
I love
that
Unsworth,
on the sideline.
But yeah,
Especially
I said,
especially
I love
look at the
Unsworth.
way he takes his press conferences as well. How he's, we had Koeman who talked down on Barkley, and I'm not saying Barkley is someone that needs to have his head any bigger, because he obviously got fed a lot of ego from Martinez. But you look at when he was playing his best, was it under Martinez or was it under Koeman? And it was obviously under Martinez. And you look at Unsworth's first press conference, and he's like, Barkley loves the club. Barkley wants, can stay here and be a legend of the club. He's a talented player that, we can help him achieve all his goals, etc. We want him to sign the contract because we need him at this club. He loves the club, he loves the players, everything. And it really, that could be the deciding factor in Barkley leaving and Barkley staying. So,
oh yeah, definitely.
At the end of the day, if Unsworth is pushed aside and we get a manager of the likes of Tuchel from Dortmund, for example, or Sean Dyche, and I like both of those options. You've got other ones. Obviously, Benitez was linked. I wouldn't be very happy if Benitez became manager. But
the main thing for me is you need to get someone in that loves the club. Like, obviously, no one's good. Like, if you bring in Tuchel, or you bring in Ancelotti, or you bring in anyone else that hasn't been a part of the football club, obviously they won't love the club from the get-go. But you need to bring someone in who's willing to learn about the history of the club, that's willing to make the players play for the badge. And look, I say that I wouldn't give Unsworth the job right now, but at the same time, if Everton made a tweet right now and said David Unsworth is given the job until the end of the season, I wouldn't be disappointed. I'd be happy, but in my personal opinion, I just don't think he's the right man to bring Everton forward just yet. And if that's bringing in someone like Ancelotti for a year and a half and then giving the job to Unsworth after that, but keeping Unsworth under Ancelotti's wing for a year and a half, maybe that's one way that we could be thinking, because maybe Unsworth needs to gain more to like a tactical side of things more so than a passion side of things, because like as much as I'd love to see it every single game 90 minutes, players won't ride off passion every single week, and that's sort of what Unsworth is trying to get the players to ride off right now, which is fair enough because we need that. And the main thing for me against Chelsea was the fact that the players spent about 20 minutes on the pitch after the game talking to fans in the away bay. Like, that is huge for me, because the fans are what makes the club right now. Well, the fans are what makes the club all the time. So I never want to see Unsworth leave Everton Football Club in any capacity, but I just don't know if I'm sure right now on if he is the right man to lead us forward for the rest of the season. But like I said, if Everton were to announce right now that he is leading the team forward for the rest of the season, I wouldn't be disappointed.
Yeah, it's obviously a sticky situation, and one that we won't really have a gauge on where anything is, especially if he wins all three of the next 3 games until the international break. It's obviously hard to predict in football, such as the business side of it. The last thing we'll touch on, Ross Barkley, 3 to 4 weeks away. He will probably be back. Well, I don't know if it was 3 or 4 weeks away from full training, or 3 and 4 weeks away from potentially being back in the team. But he's essentially got December to prove his worth. It'll be good to see him at least play again if he does decide to leave in January. It would be good to see him play again for Everton. It'd be good to see how he goes about it, his actions, if he still does love the club. And I've got no doubt he loves the club, but if he loves the club to a capacity where he's willing to stay and fight to win trophies for Everton.
I think he's back. I think that love is back because, I don't know if you saw, but Joel Robles put a video on his Instagram story 2 days ago of Barkley playing Z-Cars through the change rooms and he and Velasi were dancing to it. So I think that's sort of back, but at the same time,
can you turn down a move to Tottenham, a team that is on the brink of winning the Premier League, as a 23-year-old or 24-year-old, whatever he is, as talented as he is?
He doesn't get as talented as he is. He doesn't get in the Tottenham team right now. He's not getting in the Tottenham team ahead of Ali and Eriksson and Song. No chance in the world. Right now, he could wander into Everton's starting 11. As good as I think Sigurdsson is, and as good as I think Klassen is, even though he's not given any chances, which I hope he does get a good chance under Unsworth, he doesn't get in the Tottenham team right now. He doesn't get in the Chelsea team right now. He doesn't get in United, doesn't get into City, he's never going to Liverpool, but he doesn't get into the Liverpool team. He maybe gets into the Arsenal team. But he's got to look at it in the back of his mind. Am I going to get starting spots?
Especially in the World Cup year.
Yeah, exactly. He's better off, if he wants to be a part of the World Cup squad, he's better off knuckling down with Everton for the next 7 months and trying to absolutely boss it and proving to Southgate or whoever the England manager is how good he is. Because he's going to get, in January, if he moves to a top 6 club, he will get very limited minutes and that's his World Cup over. And the next chance he gets to go to a World Cup is when he's 28.
The more precarious situation for him is the fact he hasn't been involved with England for a long time. We're talking, a year and a half was the last time he was in an England squad, and that he was left out completely from those games. I think it was a thing of 7 consecutive internationals, friendlies and competitive, for England that he didn't get any minutes in. He was the only player from those 7 games that were named in the squads that did not play a single minute. So
yeah, exactly. And it's so frustrating because of how talented he is. And it makes you wonder. I don't think Lukaku is that much of a cunt, but do you reckon Lukaku could have got in his ear late last season? Because
saying what?
Saying Everton aren't going to go anywhere near Champions League anytime soon. If you want to play Champions League football, you need to leave Everton, so on and so forth. And obviously Lukaku had a shaky relationship with Koeman and Martinez, and obviously Barkley had a shaky relationship with Koeman. But do you reckon Lukaku potentially played a part in Barkley wanting to leave?
Well, that's the thing. Obviously, that's a part of football. And I can tell you firsthand, being in a somewhat semi-professional environment, the fact that players do talk about other clubs inside their clubs. And they talk about, if you want to go be successful or you want to go make more money, you look elsewhere, and they talk about other clubs. I know that for a fact. I know I'm obviously not at the level of Premier League players, but it happens. And I've got no doubt.
Obviously,
and probably said something like that.
That's why Morales wanted to leave as well. Morales wanted to leave because he wanted to get out of Everton. And I reckon that goes down to Koeman as well. And then Morales goes and plays on Thursday morning against Chelsea. And he's one of the players showing the most heart I've seen out of any Everton player this season. It's one of those things. I honestly see Morales being one of our best players this season now. If he gets minutes, I honestly see him being one of our best players. Because he's talented as fuck. And if he can just knuckle down and try to not 2-foot someone about every 5 minutes, then he should have got sent off about 3 times against Chelsea. But if he can knuckle down, he can be one of our best players. Barkley knuckles down, he can be one of our best players. We've got Balassi and Coleman to come back. That's 4 fresh new starting 11 players to come back into our team, because realistically Morales played all up like a game and a half or 2 games of Premier League so far this season, because he came on for 10 minutes against Brighton. He played against Stoke, and he played a little bit against Chelsea and Tottenham, I think. And other than that, he played nothing. So, that's 4 fresh players. And if you can get Sandro to get some confidence, and if you can get some Klassen to get some confidence, that's 6 new players for us basically heading into January. And that's huge.
I know you mentioned it a while ago with Sandro as well. I feel like in the same boat, he does probably need that under 23s game, 1 or 2, score a couple of goals, and I think he'll be right. Even a loan, just loan him out. I mean, realistically, we could probably, in January, if he's not close to the team, if he's still struggling for confidence, we could just loan him out to a team like a Huddersfield or a Brighton, give them something up front for half a season and give them in the Premier League for a bit of experience. He is 21. He is still very, very young. So
yeah, exactly right. It's a weird one. Sandro's a really weird one. Like I said to you in the last podcast, I reckon there's a huge chance he'll probably move to Atletico Madrid. But at the same time, this is a completely new and fresh Everton. And the last time we did a podcast, Koeman was still our manager, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, the last podcast we did was straight after the Arsenal game. So it's like I've mentioned just then, there's 6 new players in our team to come back into our team within the next month, if we can get Klassen and Sandro to get some confidence as well. Because you and I are one of the few people on Twitter who actually saw something in Klassen in the first few games that he played. I thought he was pretty good. Technically, he's a fantastic footballer, but he's just got to get the Premier League. He's just got to understand how tough the Premier League actually is and how mentally demanding it is, because on the ball, he is outstanding. He was one of our best players on the ball in the first few games, in my opinion, and getting us into the Europa League as well. And you agreed with that, and only limited people on Twitter, on social media did as well, because everyone thinks Klassen is dog shit. And ever since his really poor performance a month ago, he hasn't featured for us since. But I think he's exactly in the exact same boat sort of as Sandro. Does he need to go back to the 23 through a game or 2 to get some confidence and come back in?
Well, it doesn't help that we've got 4 players pretty much in the same position as him. He can't get any games. And especially...
He could start. Honestly, he could start.
He could start, absolutely. But
Unsworth has been holding training for about a week now, or just under a week. It's 5 to 6 days. Unsworth might have seen Klassen and thought, what the fuck are you doing sitting on the bench every week? Klassen could have absolutely dominated in training for the last 5 to 6 days, and Klassen could quite easily be starting today. Quite easily. But at the same time, has he been doing that? Apparently Sandro has been absolutely... Since Koeman got sacked, apparently Sandro's knuckled down. And he could be on the brink of playing today as well. So it's just one of those ones. I don't know. I haven't seen Unsworth's pre-Leicester press conference, so I don't know what he said about certain players and if he's guaranteed certain players starting or not. But
no, it wasn't too much to it. More confirming Idrissa Gueye's contract extension and stuff like that.
Yeah, and that's huge, obviously, as well. That's really good to fucking hear. But the main thing that I've seen today as well, what Unsworth said, is that he's going to play players in their position. So it's going... And the one thing for that is, what does Unsworth think Rooney's best position is as well? As he's saying he's going to play players in their position.
Well, he played him at striker against Chelsea.
Yeah, so I think Unsworth would be seeing Rooney as a striker, but will Rooney start? I think Rooney will start, but I'd like to see Calvert-Lewin start. But then again, we're saying, and we don't have the greatest strike options, but we're saying we don't have an outstanding amount of striking options right now. But when you actually look at what we have, Rooney, Calvert-Lewin, Nias and Sandro, who all aren't terrific footballers. Calvert-Lewin's there, he's getting there. I think Rooney's a fantastic player, but he's past it. Nias is not good enough, in my opinion. and Sandro hasn't learnt the Premier League just yet. But at the same time, on their day, they can be match winners. So I can't wait to see the starting team, because I think that'll settle down where we're going to be at for the next 3 games as well. Because I don't think he'd like to change the starting team up too much for the next 3 games. So
it'd be interesting. Definitely interesting.
No one knows what's going to happen. Like, he could come out and start Martina.
Wouldn't that be bad?
I highly doubt that he'll start Martina. But
imagine
he could
the
come out
banter
and
of
start
starting
Martina.
Martina, starting Williams, and starting Schneiderlin and Gay, and then Gilfie on the left. That'd be fucking scenes.
I honestly think he could start Nias.
Right, well...
Because he worked with him for the 23s.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Like, a new system for Nias might help. Who knows?
Exactly. So who knows? Like, we honestly have no idea who's going to start.
Like, we've got Hannon.
I honestly would like to see him on the bench. Like,
I think he'd be a decent shout.
I don't think Benigni will be on the bench, but going off what I think Schneiderlin and Klassen will be on the bench. So that'll be like the midfield sort of options, and you'll have like Lookman and hopefully Hannon and like Calvert-Lewin or Rooney on the bench.
I think we're forgetting McCarthy in all this, to be honest.
Yeah, we are too, aren't we? McCarthy was actually pretty good as well against Chelsea. Like, I liked him.
I think McCarthy next to Idrissa and Tom Davies, maybe, and then Sigurdsson. I don't know. You know what? I would hate to be the Everton manager. I don't even know.
It's Koeman made it seem like we only have 11 players available.
I think with McCarthy, I don't think he starts this one just because of his injury problems.
No, he doesn't. I don't think he does. I could see him on the bench. I could see him if we're 2-0 up with like 20 minutes left. I could see him coming on as a defensive midfielder or that box-to-box sort of midfielders, like sort of shore things up in the midfield for fresh legs. But I don't see him starting, no.
Well, I guess we'll find out in about 2.5 hours. So,
yeah, it should be interesting.
2 and a bit. I think we'll leave it there. We've rambled a bit. 37 minutes, YOLO. We'll be back after the Leicester game, talking about all things Everton, depending on this result. Could be a good podcast, could be a bad podcast. We'll see exactly what happens. Follow us on Twitter, SOSEFC1878, as we talk a lot of shit about Everton. And on Podbean, flicking the bean all season long. I almost forgot it. But we'll be back in the next one. Until then, Jacob.
Up to the fucking toffee.